Hey, I'm Devin Spear, and this is my Disruption Weekly recap for August 9, 2024. This week, we're going to talk about Meta instead of the usual suspects, which seem to be Tesla, right? Elon. So Elon's nemesis, Mark Zuckerberg, is in the news. They had their quarterly analysis earnings call with Wall Street, earnings statements. They talked a lot about how much money they're making, billions of dollars. But they also talked about artificial intelligence and that the Meta strategy is breaking AI into two categories: core AI, or systems that are used to support ecosystems. So really the underlying technology. And the second category is generative AI, the newer technology that's costly to develop and yet meaningful revenue driver, according to executives who consider it transformative. Of course it's transformative because Mark Zuckerberg says, hey, guess what? In the coming years, AI will be able to generate creative for advertisers as well, and will also be able to personalize it as people see it. Real-time personalization powered by AI. CMOs and pundits say, hey, it's going to be a long time before marketers just release their creative to Facebook or Meta. I think it's going to happen faster than you realize. It's going to happen because it's going to be targeted one-on-one, and the creative won't be as good as what humans do initially, and then it will. Meta is investing a lot of money in artificial intelligence, and they're, to their credit, they have one of the best open source AI models. So wait till you see AI created on Facebook without human intervention. It might happen before you realize it. ChatGPT's parent company, OpenAI, has announced that they're going to release SearchGPT in direct competition to Google Search. It had been rumored they were doing this. It's available for 10,000 users to prototype and test now. It's got a lot of differences, presumably, from Google Search. Number one would be no advertising. At least that's what Sam Altman wants to achieve, is just rely on subscription revenue from ChatGPT instead of having ads, which he thinks are distracting. You'll see the format change. Google has tried to use AI with very mediocre and sometimes fatally flawed results. So they've scaled back. But SearchGPT will also, in addition to being ads-free, they will have better context, they believe, less hallucinations, and ultimately it would be more of a concierge-style service compared to Google's ever-growing encyclopedia meets Atlas meets News Bureau, one expert said. By the way, Google makes $237 billion on ad revenue in 2023 alone. Isn't that crazy how much money Google generates from selling ads on the platform that they create, the need for the ads? Back to Google, they have just agreed to rehire the CEO of Character AI. We've talked about Character AI in weeks past. The CEO, this guy named Norm, I guess worked in the Google DeepMind lab, left Google, founded and started Character AI with the co-founder Daniel. They both are being rehired. They're credited with building the first large language model for dialogue applications. Play with Character AI when you have free time. It is really fascinating. You can literally talk to infinite number of characters or create your own. Characters could be anybody from Elon Musk or the Dalai Lama or your favorite author or someone you just make up, and the growth there has been explosive. Google also says they're going to use Character AI technology as part of an investment in Character AI and rehiring the two founders. Character AI has raised $150 million in venture-backed funding from A16Z, and the Federal Trade Commission and Department of Justice are saying, wait a minute, what are now being defined as acquire hires, acquiring executives from other companies instead of acquiring the company. So there might be some legal issues surrounding that, but it's happening a lot. Microsoft just did it with Inflection. Interesting about Character AI. And speaking of characters, Figure has released their 02 robot. I would call it Figure 2.0, which is sleeker, smarter, and more humanoid. There's some cool videos about this. The CEO of the company that I follow on Twitter does a great job of constantly updating what's happening at Figure. They have been, and I knew this, they've been using a prototype series of several Figure robots in a BMW manufacturing plant in South Carolina. And so the article goes on to talk about things like swappable legs, because it helps with manufacturing, how the neck and the thumbs work, and these new upgrades from the ground up, redesigned software and hardware, and a 5-hour runtime. Finally, they say, by the way, the company's now valued at $2.6 billion. So Figure is going to compete head-to-head with Tesla's Optimus and all the other humanoid robots that you don't know about and haven't heard about, but they're there, and they're all spending lots of money. Boston Robotics being one of them. But someone from the company said it's going to be very, very far away from a humanoid robot in the home, but I appreciate that it is still an explicit goal that Figure is trying to achieve. Of course they're trying to achieve humanoid robots in the home. That is the goal for all these companies. And I think it's going to happen sooner than later. Everybody's kind of, soft pedaling the rollout. You're going to see it in factories first, and then you're going to have robots in your house before you know it. Is that a year, 2 years, 5 years? I think sooner than you imagine. In the crypto category, Morgan Stanley, one of the big investment houses on Wall Street, has agreed to allow all of their sales team, 15,000 broker agents, employees of the firm, to sell Bitcoin via an exchange-traded fund. I think they're using BlackRock's ETF and a few others. This happened on Wednesday of this week, August 7th. This is big news because Morgan Stanley has $1.3 trillion in wealth, so they can redirect some of their clients' portfolio to Bitcoin. And it also will move from that top tier, like the BlackRocks of the world, to the middle tier. I don't know, I'm no Wall Street expert, but the middle tier will be more people like Merrill Lynch and Wells Fargo, Bank of America. All of this is great for Bitcoin adoption, Bitcoin value, usage, exposure. So it's surprising. People didn't think this would happen already. So you can buy Bitcoin through Morgan Stanley with the ease of calling your broker on the telephone. And lastly, back to Google. Maybe we've had 3 Google mentions this week. They pulled a controversial ad from the Paris Olympics last week that was called Dear Sydney. It was an ad that was written about Olympic track star Signe McLaughlin-Leverone, I can't pronounce her name. And in essence, the dad of the daughter was saying, hey, Google Gemini helped me write a fan letter. And it got enormous backlash. I'm not sure why. Everyone's doing this. They're using these generative pre-trained models, co-pilots to write everything, final versions. But here, because a father used it to write a letter for his daughter to Olympic athlete, people hated it. They said, "Who wants an AI written fan letter?" And it didn't. She didn't even have the ability to write it herself. So people were criticizing, I guess, the mindset of the fictitious father in the ad. It was done by the Google in-house creative team, but listen, it is. They later said it was just meant to be a draft. It wasn't the final letter written to to Sydney. It is what's happening. People are using all types of generative AI to write everything, whether they admit it or not. And more employees of Fortune 500 companies that don't have access inside the enterprise are using it on their smartphones to get their work done. So Google's taking some heat there. I think it's just the acceptance of, are we really ready for this in modern society? It's coming. It's unstoppable. So that's the recap for this week of the Disruption Weekly Newsletter, August 9th, 2024. Please sign up for the newsletter, share it with your friends, and I will see you again next week.